Another day, another failed green energy policy. This week was just filled with green energy policy failures that prove that our politicians that back these plans are virtue signaling, and it's undeniable that they know that they're not going to get any real results. We all know the climate is changing, but is throwing our money at green energy schemes going to change the temperature? Well, this report says that we're 200 million tons away from the emissions promise that the Liberals made, according to the 2015 International Climate Treaty. According to the latest stats, emissions are at 722 million tons, which means that we're only down by 0.7%. At this point, we have only 13 years to cut our emissions down to 523 million tons by 2030. That means taking the equivalent of 44 million cars off the road. Obviously, this is an unrealistic goal made up by naive people that think everyone can buy Teslas. Of course, Catherine McKenna can afford one, but only when she's using your money to buy it. And then there's Kathleen Wynne's cap and trade program that's not making as much money as predicted. The original budget predicted $1.9 billion in revenues yearly, while the latest budget predicts only bringing in $1.8 billion, and future budgets predict bringing in only $1.4 billion. That's because, being typical Liberals, they base the revenue on selling 100% of the trade allowances available. I'm guessing they didn't sell them because all they're doing is charging ridiculous amounts for hydro and putting companies out of business, because all these programs do is shut the doors and make these businesses less competitive. And when you're not collecting enough money to fund the green energy programs that you've promised, it's just a waste. And then there's Vancouver's natural gas ban that I talked about earlier this week. Can you even believe this? City Council has put restrictions on natural gas usage for new buildings, meaning that many businesses will be hit with higher costs for renewable natural gas and other green energy sources that are just as costly. This is yet another anti-business policy that doesn't do anything to reduce global emissions. China is the biggest polluter, and the city of Vancouver wants to ban natural gas when replacing that country's coal usage with natural gas could reduce those emissions by up to 50%, since natural gas is so much cleaner burning. It just doesn't make any sense. And then there's Rachel Notley's criticism of Christy Clark's proposed ban, or $70 tax per ton on thermal coal being shipped through British Columbia's ports. Notley criticized the tax and said she was opposed to it, and she also said that it's not up to Clark to put a tax on a product. For one, Canada isn't a net exporter of thermal coal. That's the type of coal used to generate electricity. And Notley should know this. And Notley put her own tax on coal. So is it good or bad? What a hypocrite. Let's just call this what it is. Clark's proposals were clearly just an attack on Trump for the softwood lumber dispute. What wasn't mentioned is that British Columbia ships metallurgical coal, the type of coal that's used to manufacture steel, to China. So why didn't Notley tell Clark to stop shipping coal to China if she cares so much about the environment? These politicians are doing nothing but politicizing stuff. They don't care about actual results. I don't know about you, but I have yet to see a green energy policy that's actually going to work to cut global emissions. I'm not against cutting pollution. I'm just against the government using these issues to take more money from me with no results. All these taxes do is make people poorer, and they're an attack on business. When you tax people to poverty, or in the case of businesses, to death, there just comes a time when you just won't collect anymore. Canada's emissions haven't even dropped a percentage, even with all of these plans, like guilt taxes being put in place to make us feel bad. The way I see it, it's just another way for the government to line their pockets, and no government plan is going to make a difference. No amount of our money is going to make a difference, because problems just don't disappear because you throw money at them. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of our latest content that you're just not going to find anywhere else.